to do a explanation on Bhaktisiddhanta's essay on organized religion. I always like this, and it's very appropriate and relevant to our preaching nowadays and sharing of Krishna consciousness. Well, Krishna Hari Hari, Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari, Hare Ram 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 Hari Hari, Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari, Hare Ram. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, Meena posted this essay yesterday on organized religion, and I was reading through that. I thought, yeah, I read it years ago. I thought, yeah, it's so good, But, it just really needs to be fluffed out. So let's do that. Let's do a little fluffing things out. Hopefully our internet will hold out, So this is, I think Meena made it come up with this radical Krishna consciousness, Bhaktisiddhanta, Saraswati, Thakur, organized religion, an essay. I just love the word radical because you kind of got to be like that, I mean, wasn't Jesus a radical? It changed the whole world, man. Yeah. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was radical, and Bhaktisiddhanta and Prabhupada changed the whole world, introduced something that was dead for many years, underground, mainly because of organized religion, more or less. All right, so organized religion. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yeah, thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Jesus. All right. He says, Sri Krishna manifests his eternal birth, the pure cognitive essence of the serving soul. Now, he uses a lot of big words here. I looked up a few of them. So I'll do the best we can with some of these things. Let's see. The pure cognitive essence of serving soul, who is located above all mundane limitations. All mundane limitations. Okay? So, and practically, what does that mean, above all mundane limitations? There's this tendency for people to what they call it, anthropomorphize God. They say, well, say like the Christians, they say, well, God can't have, there's only one God, which is true. There's only one incarnation of the Lord, and that's Jesus Christ. He's only, so because we know there's only one, God, one Father, and he has only one Son. See? Now, is that really logical? An unlimited God has only one Son, see? And that's it, and only one servant. His only servant is Jesus Christ, or one deliverer who comes here to deliver people. See? So that's not a God that in our mind, so we're creating those limitations. See? Luckily in the Vedas it teaches that we have a God that is one God, but it can have many authorized forms coming to share more about who he is, because he's unlimited, has unlimited truth about who he is. And it's very relishable to devotees to understand more about who their Lord is that they're eternally connected to. All right, we're back. I might have to fiddle with this internet a little bit to get it working. See, so you see, but the true God is above all material limitations, mundane limitations of our own mind, and all of that. And so the Vedas have devotees who have realized, to realize God in truth, you need to be a devotee. So this is one of the beautiful conceptions coming from the Vaishnava truth. So another revelation is that God has various forms, like Krishna, like Jesus Christ, like Shaktavesh avatar. That's considered a form of God. See? He's also comes as Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, Shiva, the various forms that have authorized incarnations. He also has demigod forms. See, which is, demi means below the true God. See, well, these demigods are subservient to the one true God. But that one true God sometimes comes in what they call pastime avatar, with pastime forms like Krishna, Lord Chaitanya. See? Or their servants. See, they come as a little servant. So all these things you can learn from the Vaishnava, wonderful Vaishnava literature, written by very advanced devotees that are very rarely on this planet. Okay? Once every 27 Divya Yugas, according to Chaitanya Charitamrita. Some people seem to think differently. I don't know, but that's what I read in there, so I kind of just tend to go with that. All right. Above all mundane limitations. Now, King Kamsa, I speak a lot about this. Kamsa, his role in all this. So King Kamsa is the typical aggressive empiricist. See, empiricist. Did I look up that word? Let's see. Lexicographic, empiricist. Empirical. Okay. Empiricist. Okay. Is a typical aggressive empiricist, ever on the lookout for the appearance of the truth, for the purpose of suppressing him before he has time to develop. See? The truth. So, do you ever hear about word jugglery and bad logic and speculation, stuff like that? That's King Kamsa. See? The appearance of truth is what? See, so the empiricists, those types of persons who speculate, juggle the scriptures, they got some crafty intelligence like Kamsa, they're actually usually hypocritical. Okay? So they're on the lookout for any appearance of the real truth. And what is the difference between speculative, juggled word truth, which is not really truth at all? What is the difference? Suppress it, to squash it down. See, that's what can come very aggressively. See, aggressive using word jugglery. Krishna takes the place of Deva or Devi. Okay, we're back here. I don't know. I have to. That's kind of a little bit off subject here. I'm kind of getting to other points, and I'm not exactly sure. Deva and Deva. You got to explain what you mean. Devi, like I don't know which context. So you got to explain that. I would just let that go right now, and just kind of stick with what's happening here because it's a little bit off topic right now. Yeah. See. So the appearance of conclusive truth is a more clear explanation of what Bhaktisiddhanta is talking about, as it is conclusive truth. See? As opposed to speculation and inexperience of that truth. So conclusive truth comes simply, again, from those who worship the Lord with loving ecstasy. That's transcendental. See, that loving ecstasy. So what comes along with that is intimate understanding of truth. Okay, so there's that. Okay. For the purpose of suppressing him before he has time to develop. So generally, that's why it's so rare to find advanced devotees on the advanced path, on the advanced level of bhakti. In other words, you find that what Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, a devotee who is like it's very rare to attain pure devotional service. It is rarely attained. Why? Because all the Kamsas are on the lookout to suppress it when it comes here. Okay? That's why the acharyas hide their bhakti. See? So usually, not always. Okay? I mean, Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhakti Vinod, and Prabhupada, they hid more or less their expression of devotion, the devotion, and even their knowledge they hid. They would write stuff like this, and they know most devotees are beginners, and they won't understand this stuff. You have to have it fluffed out by a living representative of this truth. You have to find somebody that actually worships the Supreme Being with loving ecstasy. They worship Krishna with loving ecstasy, and they've become conclusive because of their intimate relationship. And then they can have the ability to magnify and clarify what these great souls write in these books. And I bet you never thought about that, truth and suppressing truth. Well, what does that mean? You see, we're here to fluff all this out so it gets more clear. Right? See, before it develops. So sometimes it's just like the birth of Krishna. Kamsa was right there he was born in prison, just like Jesus was born in the barn because he couldn't find a place. Kamsa's and the material world, the mundane world, does not like bhakti, is adverse to it, wants to suppress it if it's ever. That's what it does. That's its nature. See? So if the bhakti is ever going to be born here, it's not being born in a rich family. Usually people are not interested. So it's born in a barn somewhere where it's off, or born in the jail cell because Kamsa put Devaki and Vasudeva in the jail. So it was born there. So, and a lot of the babies that were born Kamsa was right there to dash it to the ground before it develops. And that's the meaning there. But two slipped through. Was it 2 or 3? 2 was Yogamaya and Krishna, and they slipped through the cracks and were able to develop in Vrindavan. So you see, Krishna was taken to Vrindavan because Kamsa was ruling Mathura there. It wasn't a good place to develop this kind of bhakti. This kind of bhakti develops when you're in an environment like Vrindavan. See? So in that environment is created by the Lord in his ecstatic form as Krishna and the devotees of Krishna. So Vrindavan was perfect. See? Perfect for Krishna to grow up. See? When he grew up, he became strong and came back and killed Kamsa. See? Kamsa represents speculation, hypocrisy, and all that. Okay? So it's the same thing here. We're creating here a Vrindavan, and Kamsa, you notice, there are a lot of mundane devotees, materialistic devotees, hypocritical devotees. See? They're very aggressively trying to suppress what we do, right? They don't like it. Oh, don't go to his lectures and all that. Whatever you can do, very aggressive campaign to suppress this. So what do? We retreat to Vrindavan. What is our Vrindavan? We don't have to necessarily be there in Vrindavan. We have to be amongst each other with devotees on the like-minded page. Here there's protection here. We hear and chant together. See, and we're getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And what happens? Oh, eventually we go to the abode of rules and regulations and not kill physically, kill the ignorance, the stupidity, the darkness. See, kill. I don't like that word kill. We dissipate that. See, with the truth is a better word. Forget these words. We go back to the mundane world, and that includes mundane Vaishnavism, material mode of goodness Vaishnavism, and dissipate the ignorance that's going to deliver you. Just like Jesus came to the Jews and dissipated their ignorance that they were going to be delivered by God by following the rules and regulations and fasting and all that. Something more was needed. See? So here, you notice we're also developing. This is our Vrindavan here. We're with like-minded devotees. And the more you get here, with it here, you find, like Meena says, I don't want to go over there so much. I don't feel good doing that. See? So you stay and get strong here. And later, on, you come and dissipate the ignorance of others. Already, look at this. People are standing up now, giving their testimonies right there on Facebook. Man, who's doing that? See, that's proof that the spiritual potency is more here, because you're getting life, and life to stand up and preach and share your realization. People are getting realizations here. They're not. They're under the thumb of the Kamsas trying to suppress real life. The real life is here, man. See, Kamsas are the organized religion. You see, organized suppressing. See, suppressing the truth, suppressing the conclusive truth. Okay? So it doesn't develop. So we have to go outside of those walls and cultivate it here to the point it becomes very strong. Okay? And then you go back and you stand up boldly and testify, because the Spirit is with you here. Okay? It very easily dissipates all that ignorance. Okay? We're building our army here. What is it? What do they call it? Salvation Army. We're the pure devotional service army. So, he is disposed to link that faith. Oh wait, the materialist has a natural repugnance or aversion. Repugnance means also aversion for the transcendent. See? Now, what does that mean? So, the materialist means also organized. He's talking, this is about organized religion. And he's saying organized religion is materialistic. And of course it is, usually is. It's beginner stuff, Organized religion. See, methodical, It's for beginners. Okay? And he lumps organized religion into the materialist mentality if you show the symptoms. Okay? Like today, I gave a lecture and some guy came, or some devotee comes and says, well, we recognize that the people in the disciplic line, their father and their grandfather and their grandfathers and their grandfathers are in this seminal disciplic line. Okay? Therefore, we acknowledge it as bona fide. See, that's mundane. That's materialistic level of looking at things. Okay? Believe it or not, people think this devotee honestly felt like that. That was his, See, but actually, real bhakti, those who have real bhakti, they dissipate that ignorance by giving you a stronger argument. I mean, that was what all devotees do. They give you a stronger, more logical, more clear explanation to dissipate the ignorance of the mundane. You consider that a mundane explanation is the transcendent one. That's not transcendent. No, you even see, oh yeah, that's right. Because if you don't have the symptoms of being in a real line, that means the symptoms are clearly explained in the Shastras when you understand them correctly in Prabhupada's books, Goswami books. A real advanced devotee has ecstatic symptoms, man. If you look in one of these seminal disciplic lines and the leader, the head person that's claiming to be an acharya, they don't have ecstatic bhakti symptoms, how are they, that's something the Shastras say they're not bona fide. See? But if you're a materialistic devotee, you can't think, you can't independently analyze the situation unless you have help. You have to have a person who is a bona fide spiritual master to teach you about how to analyze things according to symptoms. See? That again dissipates the ignorance. See? So one thing is, people have to learn the difference between what is of transcendence, see, what is actually spiritual, and what is material. So in Vaishnavism, it's not that clear, but it's all in the books. So you need a real living devotee, because none of these Ritviks are able to figure it out. And the living gurus who claim, yeah, I'm your guru, worship me, but Prabhupada will deliver you, they obviously haven't figured it out. Okay? But we did. Okay? So and it's all checkable. Okay? You can say, well, you go and you look in here, what is really spiritual has these symptoms. What is really spiritual is a devotee who worships the Lord with genuine, loving ecstasy that is transcendental, symptomized by tears in the eyes, choking in the voice, shows they have an awakened spiritual body, and they love God. They they love God just like a person loves a woman or a man. Just like that, only better because you're more free. You love a man or a woman, okay, it's kind of nice, but there has a lot of downsides, man. You get a little bit of happiness, but the thing is, if you really develop this spiritual body and loving God, you can also have that love of the man and the woman. It's no hindrance here. I say, hey man, you just come here, and the Lord, you'll awaken your relationship with the spiritual, and you can love a man and woman and all. Don't worry about that. Just be natural. No suppression here. Just get balance, man. Have your love in the world, and have your love for who you're really eternally connected to. That's all God is looking for, man. He'll liberate people like that. That's why you see the associates of the Lord showed the example. Many of them were married, and they still had a relationship with God. They still had their sex. They still had their children. They had everything that an ordinary person has, but they also had that special thing that the ordinary people don't have, and that's this wonderful, ecstatic, eternal relationship, awakened, juicy here in the world where you're relishing doing the pure devotional service. See? And that's what we're about here. Okay? No suppression. You don't have to say, oh, I can't get married. No, just don't let it be a hindrance. Like if you get too soon, maybe, it might be they'll take your whole life. I sometimes say and often say, hey man, just kind of get really strong here, really feel your awakened relationship, and then you can do all kinds of stuff here in the world, Yeah, but you really get clear on what is this, have this awakening of your relationship with the Supreme. It's kind of like, when you start out in life and you have the brahmachari period where you're learning, okay? Well, don't just jump off and get married, before you really get it really clear, the awakened relationship, the spiritual relationship. Get that really clear, before you start jumping into marriages and all that stuff, And because otherwise it can be, just pull you away, and then all of a sudden, because you're not strong enough. So anyway, that's the only one consideration about that. So, Freddie says, is there a difference between spiritual and transcendental? Not in our not really, no, not really at all, because what people think are spiritual in the New Age is not really spiritual, it's celestial. See, there's a celestial distinction. See, but the true meaning of spiritual means what is of the spirit, which is beyond the celestial level. That's still in the mundane universe here. But it's very high, it's all kinds of mystic powers and stuff like that. You can control your environment and become what they call you can, what they call that, what's that thing? In the book, The Secret, and that movie, The Secret, they call anyway, just stuff like celestial mystic power, stuff like that. But what is really spiritual is outside of even Brahman. What is really spiritual is in Vaikuntha, and from Vaikuntha on. Okay, that's considered the spiritual atmosphere. Okay, so transcendent, when I use the word, means spiritual, means beyond liberation, even beyond the celestial, and Vaikuntha, and then even more Vaikuntha, and then Dwarka, and then Mathura, and then Vrindavan, Ayodhya, stuff like that. Okay, so the materialist has a natural repugnance for the transcendental. So even in religion, when a real person, you see, there's a reason Krishna says, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender to me. That means surrender to what is spiritual, and only a real bona fide spiritual master that's teaching Raganuga Bhakti, leading quickly to spontaneous devotion, is what he's talking about. Only if you come here can you begin to abandon a lot of the rules and regulations strictly following a lot of the rules and regulations that you were told were written in stone, and you had to follow everything methodically even though you don't know what you're doing. Okay? Everybody coming here from the Vaidhi path is learning that. They just notice that, my God, I don't have to, do all these things I thought were written in stone, and I didn't even know why exactly I was doing them usually. Or they weren't working to give me the higher result, which people are getting here. People are learning how to properly follow the 18th chapter verse in Bhagavad Gita, how to practically abandon all varieties of religion and its rules, its regulations, and everything, and please God even better. And we have examples. We got a few people jumping up, testifying, yeah, man, it really works. Wow, I'm so much more happy than just being a Vaidhi Bhakta. Ask Janaki. Didn't quite work. I read Prabhupada's book, 16 rounds every day. But my God, I'm so much more happy. Ask Johan, my God, I'm 1,000,000 times more happy. More deep in, see, testimony. See, it works. See? Because this is really spiritual, and the other was still material, even though you're following Prabhupada's order. See? Because that's supposed to get you to the point where you desire to attain Krishna. Now Krishna leads you here, and very quickly you get Krishna. See? Johan's got Krishna. What do you think that is? The ability to relish and cry and laugh when you read the scriptures? Choke in the voice, all these revelations and realizations. See? Rangaleka, also many people making vast progress. See? Why? Because Kamsa doesn't suppress here. See, we've created our own variety. I'm not worried about excommunication. You know how many, I'll throw you out, Gaurahari, if you don't succumb to our suppression. Oh, well, I don't need you. You Vaidhi Bhaktas can't add anything to my life. You're just materialistic devotees, as Bhaktisiddhanta says. I'm here to add to your life if you want. I'm here to help you. If you don't want the help, what can I be done? We'll just be happy worshiping Krishna here in ecstasy that increases every day, and people will just naturally come more and more and more. Because people are attracted to be saved, man. They want freedom from misery. My God, there's so much happiness growing in this Sangha. Why wouldn't people want to come here just naturally? Okay. I just sit here and do my classes. My students do their classes. They're starting to show they're better than anybody with a PhD degree in Krishna consciousness. They're more intelligent, more attracted to Krishna. They like to chant about Krishna's name. They relish things. Tears are coming in their eyes. That's more advanced than the greatest PhD you can find in Krishna consciousness. You don't see them crying tears and ecstasy, choking your voice, but people, they think that's really advanced. That ain't advanced. Advanced is a guy like Johan. When they pick up Chaitanya Charitamrita and they choke up or laugh like a madman, cry like a baby, and relish and get all these wonderful realizations, and understanding about who Krishna is. And now that's advanced, not just getting up and giving a nice intellectual, display and show. That's, never see any tears, never see choking in voice, none of that. And people think, wow, this guy's a pure devotee. No, not. No, pure devotee is somebody like Johan, man. Or Rangaleka, they start chanting Hare Krishna, man, and tears come to their eyes and choking of the voice. Okay? That's see, that's their spiritual body is awakening. They're following the path of spontaneous devotional service. Just naturally now. Look at Johan every day, 4 or 5 classes like me. He loves it, man. Get up, chanting. Hey, man, let's do some rhythmic japa, man, and let's chant. He gets happiness doing devotional service, not because of force, because he wants to from his heart. He's happy. He's satisfied doing devotional service. Hey, look at Janaki. Look at so many. Look at River, man. How many people do I have to name in our sangha? They're all standing up. Look at Madhu. Look at them all. Very impressive. Everybody. Except if they leave. Then they get the bam bam. So he is disposed, the materialist has natural repugnance for the transcendent. So to a real devotee and to those who learn from real advanced devotees, you learn that people are judged, whether they're in religion or outside of religion, by their symptoms. If a person has the clothes of a sannyasi and all that, but they're acting like or a Brahmin, and they're acting like a materialist, and they're considering or concerned about worldly stuff and the world, and they talk about politics. Well, hey man, you're just a mundane person still in a different dress. That's all. That's what I showed in that thing. They showed the sannyasi and everything, and he was running after me all over the place to get me to give him money. I said, you see, that's what people believe is spiritual. They look at the dress, man. Oh, they're looking outside. Oh, he's a holy man. But the guy in his heart, he was running after them. He ran after me. I said, hey man, go away. Oh no, you have to give me money. And I said, well, you're a whole, I didn't say it, but I'm looking at it and say, oh, that's a perfect picture, and I give a nice purport on that. Because that's what goes on. So in these organized religions, so many are like that. They're a polished version of this guy. In their heart is desire for that. That's called hypocrisy. That was Kamsa. He was like that. He was claiming to be a religious person, but his heart was materialistic. See, and he had also the symptoms that anything that was really spiritual, like somebody like here we're preaching as it is, clear truth, talking about what is really spiritual, what is material, and those who are actually materialists in the guise of the red and orange and white stuff, it's repugnant to them. Their lips curl. Okay? I love these classes. And those who are purified by coming here, they love them too. Okay? But those who are not purified and they're in religion, and often they're either those kinds of persons, materialistic leaders, or they're followers who believe in them. You just pick up the qualities of who you believe in, who you worship. Okay? My disciples here, they sing, oh, this is my spiritual master, Gaurahari Dasa, and everything. What are they getting for it? They're becoming ecstatic. That's all I have. I can't give them any money. I don't want to even be concerned so much with healings. I want them to desire Krishna, man. Desire intimacy with God, and everything will come from that. Okay. So the materialist has a natural repugnance for the transcendent. So the mode of goodness persons, look at Kamsa. Look at Daksha. He was repugnant. He was adverse to Lord Shiva, who was a pure devotee. See, he's in the mode of goodness. See, the mode of goodness you can be again. You can be in the mode of goodness and be adverse to those who have real devotion, who are really spiritual, really in transcendence. See? So Kamsa was like that. Who else was like that? Jarasandha. He followed the rules of religion, worshiped Vishnu, and followed the rules and regulations. He would never lie, and he always gave charity to Brahmins. Come on, pretty religious person, huh? Pretty spiritual? Not. See? Why? He was against that ecstatic Krishna who slipped through Kamsa's hand and developed over there in Vrindavan. Okay? Just like here, many persons coming here, they're slipping through Kamsa's hands because you're in this association, and your Krishna consciousness, your transcendental consciousness is quickly awakening, getting stronger, ready to go back to Mathura and start dissipating the ignorance of people that are under the ignorance. Put your testimony, man. Okay. See, he is disposed to link that faith. He is disposed to link that faith in the incomprehensible, in the parent of dogmatism, in hypocrisy, in the guise of religion. You see, there it is. So if you have the qualities of dogmatism and hypocrisy, and you put it in the guise, you put on a religious disguise, you see, but actually in your heart, in your nature, you're dogmatic, and you're adverse to devotees who are actually self-realized. See, Bhaktisiddhanta is writing like this because he saw what happened then was the same thing that's happening now. It always happened. It happened with Jesus, it happened with Prabhupada. Those who actually they're actually dogmatic and aggressive and adverse to what is spiritual. They don't like the real devotees who are under the shelter of the personal potency of Krishna or God, or like Jesus was under this divine shelter. They don't like them. They don't like their real disciples. Okay? The only reason how Prabhupada pulled this all off is he didn't show all of this being actual a devotee all the time. He would hid this, suppressed all that, and just gave people knowledge that they couldn't understand. So now I'm taking that knowledge and testing all of Prabhupada's disciples. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's the real purport. You can check and everything. And if they're real dogmatic and still mundane and dogmatic and adverse, they won't even check it, man. They're just aggressive, right? Isn't that what they? I don't. You're just a sahaja. I don't need to check. I know all about bhakti. I know. See, that's that level. See? That's why Prabhupada hid real bhakti. See? But some are not like that, and they'll come here and listen. Is Kamsa still alive? I mean, is he acting as a sura? Well, see, let's put it this way. The servants of Kamsa, which represent Kamsa, are alive and too well. Let's put it that way. Huh? Of course, Kamsa is alive by those who represent him. Okay? The real spiritual master, the one guru, there's only one guru, is alive by those who represent that one guru. They may come in different disciplic lines and different things, but it's the same God that coming through them all, teaching the essence of all truth to their audience. I could teach the same thing to Christians here. I would just change the words and everything, but it'd be the same thing I'm teaching here to Vaishnavas. And so I have to appear a little bit to them as a bit like a worshiper of false god or a sectarian and all that, because I'm using, that. But, it's the same heart of a servant of the Lord, teaching what is really spiritual and what is material, what is transcendent and what is mundane. See? I have to teach these things. Otherwise, you'll the ignorance there, you'll think what is mundane is actually spiritual. See? And for that mistake, that's an illusion. That's called illusion. See, that's called Maya Tattva, truth about Maya. Got to teach some of that. So Freddie says, aren't all holy scriptures full of dogmas? Well, the Vaishnava scriptures, less so. That's why I like them the best of all. But the essence in all scriptures, you can extract that essence is there also. So he is strengthened in his delusion by the interpretation of scriptures by persons who are like-minded with himself. See, so here they are, the committee gurus. See, they're actually still on the mundane platform, could even be goodness, and they strengthen their delusion because they don't go to a real spiritual master that is really spiritual, that really knows the difference between what is spiritual and eternal and what is material. So those mundane leaders who are strengthening themselves in more illusion as well as their followers, they both need to approach a bona fide spiritual master who is automatically an acharya. Automatically. Okay? They got to approach the bona fide acharya to come off that platform because their illusions are strengthened by each other's interaction, because one person illusion cannot take another person in illusion, and all they do is talk about their illusions, and it gets stronger, right? And then their illusion is also strengthened by their followers. Oh, Gurudev, please deliver me. Oh, yes, I'll deliver you with my speculation. I'll deliver you, but yeah, by this way. You just worship me because you're supposed to worship a bona fide guru, but Prabhupada will deliver you. Okay? Or worship me, I don't have any ecstatic love, and I'll deliver you because I say so and the scriptures say so. I speculate that. See? Stuff like that keeps them in illusion and the followers in illusion. They strengthen each other's illusion, and then they got their committee strengthening it more, and the only hope is the bona fide acharya has to arise. Self-effulgent, where people, they all have to acknowledge this person is divinely inspired and empowered to blast it all to create radical, real Krishna consciousness in this mess of illusion. That's only the first paragraph we've done. We haven't even finished it. See? See that? So this includes all lexicographic interpreters. Okay, lexicographic. Some of these big words here. Dictionary order, generalizations on the words or alphabetically. Yeah, I don't know. This lexicographical order is not really clear to me what he's meaning here. Yeah, so it's just not really clear. I have to go and do some more investigation. So that's only the first chapter, and I have to relax now. I have to cook some prasadam and then go out on Sankirtan. So we'll make this part one and probably 3 or 4 parts. So that's part 1. Isn't that great? It was really interesting. So if you have comments or questions, keep putting them up there and we'll answer more. Okay. Hare Krishna, everybody. And check out our new page and new YouTube channel. And so the new page is Srila Gaurahari Dasa Live on the true meaning of Bhagavatam. And that includes all the scriptures that we have. Is it okay to read any canto of Srimad Bhagavatam? Yeah, why not? Yeah. The 10th canto, well, yeah, read it, but also read it in the sense that, like to ask questions, read it and ask questions here, like, what does this mean and all this. And you should be inquisitive when you read any of that stuff. So if you can do like that. And the best thing to do is to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from the devotee, because you take the verse, and a devotee who has realized these things, the Lord speaks through them, and then everybody, the speaker is uplifted, and so are the listeners. That is really the ideal, is to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from a self-realized soul. Learn it that way, but also read on your own. And then hopefully you get more questions and comments, and you come here and then we discuss it. Okay. Hare Krishna.